Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bearbackers.
Good afternoon.
Glad to see everyone here. Beautiful day. Going to be a beautiful week ahead of us weather-wise. Going to run through this week's schedule real quick. Tonight, the Nathan Brown Show at 7 p.m. at Walk-Ons. Also, you can listen at home on the Buzz, too, which is 106.7. Men's golf team is in West Lafayette, Indiana, playing at Purdue, which is our head golf coach, Austin Oaf's old school and home course. That should be interesting. Facing a very tough field. You got Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, LSU, Tennessee, among others. Women's golf's playing in Jonesboro at the Lady Red Wolves Classic. Thursday night, Night on the Stripes at Estes Stadium. Matt Whiting, where's Matt?
Right here.
Matt, you want to tell us a little bit about that real quick?
Yes, Thursday night, Night on the Stripes, our annual Dover Gala. We still have some tickets available. The event will begin at 6 to 7:15 will kind of be the reception time, and then we'll have a program live auction about 7:30 at dinner. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you there. You can contact myself or Austin. It'll be a dinner on the Stripes, so we're really looking forward to it. But like I said, if you're interested in tickets, haven't got them yet, please give myself and Austin a call.
Thank you, Matt. Weather's going to be absolutely perfect that day. Austin was worried about it early in the week because we saw rain on that day, but it's going to be 75 degrees. It's going to be absolutely perfect. Our women's tennis team heads to Stillwater, Oklahoma for the fall ITA regionals. They play all the way through Sunday. Friday, busy Friday. Volleyball hosts Florida Gulf Coast, 6 p.m. at the Print Center. We host a fall softball game with Arkansas Tech, 5 p.m. at Ferris Field. Then Saturday, even more busy. Men's soccer hosts Florida Gulf Coast, 7 p.m. at the Bill Stevens Complex. Men's and women's cross country runs at Stillwater, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. It's actually running on the same course that will host the NCAA championships in November. Football hits the road, take on another first-time opponent, the Kennesaw State Owls, at noon Central Time, noon our time in Kennesaw, Georgia. Sunday, volleyball hosts Stetson at 11 a.m. at the Print Center. Women's soccer has senior day that afternoon against North Alabama at 3 p.m. And softball plays another fall game versus Southern Arkansas at 2 p.m. Sunday. I did want to mention our Hall of Fame weekend last week and went very, very well, as it always does. Where's Jessie Taylor? Right here in front of me. All the credit goes to her. She ran a great Hall of Fame weekend. We inducted a great class, great speeches, which you never know how those are going to go, but they went well. And I know all the people that were inducted, the 8 new inductees, really appreciated all the hard work that went into it, and it's all JT's credit goes there. Let's open today with our volleyball Sugar Bears. I know Coach Newberry has a couple of special guests with him today. One we knew about and one we weren't sure about. A very productive road trip to Florida this past weekend. We went down to Jacksonville and beat North Florida 3-2. Went 15-9 in the 5th set. That was on Friday. One of our special guests today might have had 40-plus assists in that one. They turned around the next day and swept Jacksonville 3-0. Kendall Haywood hit .455 in that match. That puts us at 12-7 overall, 4-2 in the ASUN. As I said, this week we host Florida Gulf Coast at 6 p.m. Friday, which is Pink Out Night at the Print Center. Then we host Stetson at 11 a.m. on Sunday, which is Camper Reunion Day. Now let's hear from at least one of our folks over there, Coach John Newberry.
All right. There we go. All right. This is Kingston. So we've been working on this. Let's see if he'll do it right now. Can you wave? There we go. All right. How does a bear go? Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's our baby bear. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, exciting week. Being gone Thursday through Sunday morning, I don't get to spend a lot of time with this little guy, so it's always fun to hang out with him. Luckily, we've got grandparents who live in town, so it's very helpful for us to work with that. It's the best thing ever. Coach's life with being a parent is tough, especially when your spouse is also a head coach and has a crazy schedule. So. But this sucker slept for 12 hours last night, which is almost normal, usually about 11 hours. So we woke up at 9:30 today. Hallelujah. So it was good. I got to enjoy my coffee. Really excited about this weekend. North Florida was a game that I personally wanted. I mentioned it last week. I didn't like some things last year that went on, and so this year it was like just a personal vendetta. I wanted this game. I wanted this game bad. We definitely should have won in four sets, but we were up in the fourth set, 22-13, and lost it. We got that's microphone. We got stuck in our one of our rotations and just couldn't side out, and they had some momentum, but we made a little bit of a change in the fifth set and very, very confident, but we ended up having 13 service errors in those 5 sets, which is a ton. We haven't had that many this year. Uncharacteristic. We just weren't aggressive from the service line, but we also had 12 aces, and big contributor to that was we got Kaylin Coons here. Kaylin, come on right over here just real quick. There you go. I'm gonna let you guys ask her some questions. This is Kaylin. So she had 6 service aces. So she took up half of that. She ended up having 9 total for the weekend. I know, isn't that exciting? Yes. But last weekend, you guys might have heard, so she was setter of the week and freshman of the week. I was not aware that she got both of the awards, but it's incredible for the conference. And just to compare the Southland to the A-Sun, it's not too much of a comparison really at all. Everybody in the A-Sun can be in the top 30% of the Southland Conference. It is an extremely competitive conference, extremely competitive. So for us to be 4-2 right now is huge. To be sitting right there in 4th place at the moment. I know it's still early, but it's awesome. We're looking well. We're confident. We're still struggling with some injuries, but the girls are battling. They have not given up. We're not coming out strong. We're still working on that part, but they are battling. I'm really, really proud of them. But our JU match, won that one in 4. They came out swinging. They were so aggressive, and then we turned around. Kaylin was up to serve. Next thing I know, it's 9-0 in the second set. I'm like, we got them right where we want them, and we stayed consistent, which is as a coach, that's the best thing you could ever ask for. Just please be consistently good. Sometimes that's more important than just being lucky. But we've been consistently good, and it's good for us. But not very often we get players up here. Kaylin is from Springdale, Arkansas. She went to Harbor High School, 4-time All-State in basketball here in the state of Arkansas and volleyball. And so her parents both retired purposely to make sure they can travel the country watching this one play. So they've got a nice setup, a nice rig that they travel everywhere. So they were down there in Florida a week before we got there, just camping out. They come down here, they stay at Toadsuck Park, just camping out. They love it, but they enjoy nature and everything. And but their parents are old school, and so this is a coach's kid. Those are the ones you try and find. They know that they can take some things a little bit tougher than others, but good quality about Kaylin. She's one of the most humble kids I've ever coached in my life. I'll tell her all the time she's too nice. It makes me upset. So we're trying to get her a little bit more aggressive, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So anyways, but I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm going to let you guys ask Kaylin some questions. So it's Kaylin Coons, freshman setter. Gene, got a question?
No question, but a statement. It's just been impressive to watch her play. And I know there's been a few times this year that the crowd has really been after her, and it's like it's not even existent to her. She just, if you haven't seen her play, come out and watch. She's a tremendous player, and I get a lot of joy out of watching it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What enticed you to pick UCA out of your options?
So I'm very homebodied. So being only 2.5 hours away from home is amazing. But also being recruited during the COVID year was very stressful, but John made it the best recruiting journey ever. And so this just felt like home. So, yeah.
And your major?
As of right now, I'm very interested in OT. I want to work with children very, very badly, so pediatric OT. This past year, my senior year of high school, I got the opportunity to work with special needs kids, and that was the best experience of my life. And so that's really like the path and journey that I'm looking forward to. So, yeah.
Academically, what was your biggest adjustment from high school to here?
I would definitely say just like time management. I was really good at it in high school, so it kind of helped here, but it is a lot different here just with traveling on the road to places over 12 hours away. But communication's a very important thing with your professors, so definitely times management is what I've had to adjust to. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to be here this weekend. We've got Florida Gulf Coast. Florida Gulf Coast, they won our conference last year. If you happen to show up in our gym, those are real females that are in there. They are absolutely ginormous. It's a big team. I'm not exaggerating at all. They've got Athlete of the Year from last season, Erin Schumacher. She had 29 kills against Lipscomb just recently. I mean, just 6'2", touches well over 10 foot. She easily dunk a basketball. We don't have that on our team. We've got some athletes, but this girl, she's bred differently. And then the rest of the team just follows suit. It's a Power 5 looking like team. So visibly, it'll look like a JV versus varsity team. But I can tell you right now, the way that we're playing, with the heart and the passion, determination to continue to win, I know we're going to give it more than 100%. So I'm excited about this game. It's a fun match. Those are the kind of games that we want to play, the ones where you have to battle, and it's going to take that this weekend. So hope to see you guys Friday and then also on Sunday afternoon as well. All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, first of all, that's not fair. Bring a cute kid up here. I have no cute kid. I have a dog. Frank would like my dog. Frank and I've talked dogs before, but I don't have a cute kid. Our men's soccer team won another ASUN matchup on Saturday on the road, beating conference newcomer Queens University 4-3 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Puts us at 4-1 in league play with 3 ASUN games remaining. The top 6 teams from the league make the postseason tournament. Seeds 1 and 2 are served as hosts for the first round. So very much still in the running for our men. This weekend, as we said, we host Florida Gulf Coast 7 p.m. Friday night at the Bill Stevens Complex. Now let's hear from Frank Kohlenstein.
Yeah, Steve, it really is unfair to bring a cute kid and then a great student athlete up here. I think next time you got to warn me and I'll bring Daja, which is our pit bull that works in the soccer house. She's pretty cute, and she might be a little bit of, oh, well, it's all right to have Frank come up there then. But, as you said, Steve, we were able to win on Saturday, but what a match. We were down 3-1 with 7 minutes left, and we ended up winning 4-3. So, and the best part of the story is the assistant coaches, the young man that scored 2 goals in the last 15 minutes, the assistant coaches are the ones that had lobbied so that he would go on the trip because we were having a discussion, not an argument, a discussion, because I am not allowed to have arguments anymore this season. For those of you that don't know, I was red carded by a friend of mine that was the official for the match versus Lipscomb. But just like someone with a child, when someone is hostile toward my players, that sort of gets my ire up a little bit. And I'm not the same calm dude that you see before you today when that happens. But I feel like all of us can try and do better, and I'm going to try and do so myself. And Natalie has got me in a program. So we're going to try and work on that. But as far as last Saturday, what a great comeback by our guys. And I just happened to have 23 family at the match. And about the time we started the comeback, I was thinking of what am I going to say to my family, that drove to the match and all that. But instead of me having to make up a reason for that to happen, I was able to talk about, they actually talked about what an exciting soccer match it was to have, 3 goals scored by the team they were rooting for in the last 7 minutes. And the freshman that scored 2 of those goals, I think has the most goals per minute in the nation. And we are currently ranked 29th in the RPI, which is a power index. And the reason that we're ranked that high is because our schedule is looked at as being the 3rd toughest in the nation. Now that's not the 3rd toughest in the ASUN. That's the 3rd toughest in the nation. So that's pretty cool that we're able to do that. And just like John is talking about, playing the best teams is what you want as far as bringing the most out of your team. So that's what we're hoping to see in our last 4 matches. Hopefully you'll come out to see the part 2 of beating Florida Gulf Coast. Volleyball starts it off on Friday, and then we play Saturday at 7 at the soccer field. So come out and watch us both play, and I think it'll be really, really exciting. And hopefully, the assistants will help me pick the right guys to be in the match on Saturday. Thank you.
Yeah, I did say they play Friday, but it is Saturday night at 7 p.m.
They can have a long tailgate.
They could. That'd be quite the tailgate. Our women's soccer team is in the home stretch with just 2 games remaining in the regular season. We've won 2 of our last 3, and the other one was a tie. We are 3-3-2 in ASUN play, and only soccer can have a record like 3-3-2. That's good enough for a tie for 4th place out of 14 teams. The women's ASUN tournament takes the top 8 teams. 1st and 2nd teams host. There's more teams that play women's soccer is the reason they take 8 teams to the tournament. 2 games left. This Sunday we have senior day at the Bill Stevens Complex. Finish up next Saturday, the 22nd, at Florida Gulf Coast. Now let's hear from head coach Jeremy Bishop.
Good afternoon. It was a good weekend for us. Getting back home was really nice. We've been feel like on the road a little more than at home this year, but it's about to even out here over the next couple matches, or I guess the last match coming up here on Sunday. So the last weekend we played Jacksonville State on Thursday. That game was a draw, 2-2, which doesn't seem like a great result because we felt like we should have got the win. We had a lot more of the ball. We had a lot more of the scoring opportunities in that match. But as the way the game went, they were ahead early in the second half. We were able to tie it up, and then they got an unfortunate penalty kick a little bit later, so we got down again, able to get back in it, tie it up almost immediately. Those 2 goals were scored by Anna Kerr and Sydney Bro. Both really good build-up plays. We were able to connect a lot of passes as we played through into the final third, and then they were able to pick their spot. And then as the game went on, the last probably 20 minutes was just us all on top of them trying to get the game winner, and then the clock ran out before we could get it. But it was a good opportunity for us to really get a lot of attack going, which has been what we've been missing this year. We haven't been scoring enough. We haven't been creating enough opportunities. So we'd hoped that would carry into yesterday's match, and it did. Against Kennesaw, we again were able to produce around 20 to 25 shots in both of those matches, which is quite a bit more than it's been for us this season. So I think we're figuring some things out in the attack, which is encouraging for us because we've been pretty good on the other side of the ball as far as limiting the other team's chances and goals. And so I think if we can continue to do that, then we'll have a really good shot on Sunday on Senior Day. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Also on the weekend, we had all of our 23 recruits in town. It was a great atmosphere to come out and watch football on Saturday, and they all had a really good time. We've got some players coming in from Colorado, Missouri, and then Arkansas, and they all were here with their families, and it was a really good environment and a good weekend. So they were able to watch us win yesterday, which was good. Got them excited about 23. Some of them were posting about 279 days till I arrive on campus, things like that. So they're pretty excited, looking forward to it. So a couple of them asked if they could stay. I said, well, we don't really have a spot for you yet, but be soon enough. So coming up this weekend, final home match on Sunday. I talked to John already. They're going to go ahead and sweep Stetson, I believe. So you can get right over there to our match in time for kickoff after watching them play. So we've got 5 seniors. 2 of them are grad students finishing their masters this semester. That's Taylor Webb and Gracie Hare. Both of them have been huge parts of our program for now 5 years. Just do everything for us. Fortunately, Gracie's out right now with an injury, having surgery actually today. So she's probably done for the year, unless we can get all the way into the national tournament, then maybe we'll get her back. But Taylor's been awesome also as well for all this time, big leaders for us, do everything for us. Laurel Landry hasn't played this year. She tore ACL in the spring, but she has been somebody that's been a part of our program and done a great job. We've missed her a lot this year, but for the first 3 years, she was a tremendous part of things, and we, like I said, we've really missed her this year. And then Taylor Lasseter and Abby Gibson are the other 2 seniors, 4th years. They're both going on to grad school and into the workforce when they get finished with this semester or this year, and they'll be done with their playing days. Taylor's really come on lately, scoring some goals, 2 in the last 3 matches. So looking forward to her continuing that. And then Abby Gibson's just been a 90-minute player for 4 years now, does everything for us. If you come watch us play, she's number 4. She's in the midfield. She starts our attack. She gives us scoring chances, especially on set pieces. And then she defends and wins the ball in the air more than anybody on the field. So really going to miss all of them, and the contributions they've had have been second to none. So come out on Sunday if you can, honor those ladies as we send them off, hopefully with another win. I feel like probably we need one more result to get ourselves for sure into the tournament. We may already be there, just depends on how things go. Just the way the schedule came out, we have 2 matches left, but there's several teams in the league that still have 4 matches left, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly where it's going to break out. Looking forward into thinking about tournament time, but probably need one more, so hopefully we can get that on Sunday. If not, we go down to Florida Gulf Coast for our final match next weekend. That one's on Saturday. If anybody has a Airbnb or something that could accommodate all of us, or everything's been canceled down there. We've got no vans, we've got no hotel, we're working on it. So let us know, help us out. We'll be down there soon. So if I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to. Otherwise, go Bears.
Wild and crazy affair, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
If you like offense, it was an entertaining game. If you like defense, maybe not so much. I've seen a lot of football games in my day, obviously, and I can only remember one that was similar to that, and Bill Johnson will remember this because he was doing our radio then. In 2004, we played at Delta State in Cleveland, Mississippi. Ended up 55-52, good guys. We had 644 yards of total offense in that game. Delta State had 615. We had 200-yard rushers, Bernard Scott, Kentrell Rogers. Zach Clark, a quarterback, threw for 391 yards. Michael Norvell, you might know that name, caught 10 passes for 179 yards. Their quarterback, Scott Eister, threw for 457 yards and 6 touchdowns. The difference was they kicked a field goal in the first half, and we answered with a touchdown, and that was the entire difference, kind of like this was. Nathan Brown was a red shirt that year. Did you go on the trip?
No, sir.
You didn't? It was one of the craziest ones I've ever seen. It was one of those games where anything you wanted to do on offense worked. You could have called anything and it would have worked. Defense could stop nothing. So it was just one of those games. Similar to Saturday, 52-49 Lindenwood out here. Combined 14 touchdowns, scored 1 field goal. The 1 field goal turned out to be the difference. We had 590 yards of offense. They had 641. Our quarterback, Will McElvain, threw for 341 yards, 5 touchdowns, both career highs. Our sophomore running back, Darius Hale, ran for 170 yards, added 2 receptions for 78 yards, had a combined 248 yards of all-purpose. We averaged 8.8 yards per play. They averaged 7.6. It's kind of like a baseball game or a baseball series. You win 1-0 on one day, everything's pitching. The next day it's 15-14 because everything's offense. It's just one of those days. It happens sometimes. The good news is that was a non-conference game. We're still 1-0 in ASUN play with 4 games remaining. We have 80% of our league schedule left, so that's awesome. Starts this week with Kennesaw State. It's our third first-time opponent we've played this year. Then we have North Alabama, Eastern Kentucky, and Jacksonville State left after that. The Owls from Kennesaw were picked first in the preseason ASUN poll, and with good reason, because the last few years they've been a perennial playoff team. They were 11-2, went to the second round of the playoffs last year. They've been in the playoffs and won games in the playoffs the past 4 years, not including the pandemic year. Currently, however, they are 2-3 overall, 1-1 in the ASUN. So we'll let Coach Brown, who's watched a little film on them, tell us a little bit more about them. Coach Nathan Brown.
I did not make that trip to Delta State, but you kind of made me poke my chest out a little bit there because I was Scott Eister that week on the scout team.
There you go.
I did a terrible job, obviously. No. Yeah, that's the truth. No, recapping Saturday, first of all, first thing I want to say is I want to give 100% credit to Lindenwood University. They came in and had a good game plan, didn't blink, and put it on us. And that's frustrating for us as a coaching staff and as a program for the result to be what it was. And I had a little bit of, in the back of my head, I had the coaching fear of a game like this. I mean, we've all been there where you're coming off a huge win against a top 15 program the week before in Austin Peay. You got to shift the page back to a non-conference game, a transitional team that you feel like probably, probably most of our players felt like they were better than them. And we played that way. I mean, bottom line, we played slow. We played like we were a step behind them, especially on defense. And they exposed that. Offensively and special teams wise, I thought we had a good night. I mean, your first kickoff they made, we take it down for a touchdown. We punted 3 times and averaged 42 yards a punt. Chandler continues to punt the ball well. Our coverage unit was great on kickoff cover. So there was some positives on those 2 sides of the ball. The thing that just sticks out is, and it tells me that our guys had that feeling. We played 4 Division I FCS teams before Lindenwood. Lindenwood would be the 5th this year. In the 4 previous games against FCS teams, our defense is getting up 7 touchdowns. On Saturday, they gave up 7 touchdowns. Our defense is good, and they've proven it over and over and over again. I mean, against Missouri State, against SEMO, against Austin Peay, top 5 offense in the country. We've proven that we can play at a high caliber rate. And for us to basically double our touchdown intake in a game is one of those things you just chalk it up and throw it away. We weren't prepared, and that starts with me as a coach, and our players weren't focused, and that's why we got exposed. Now, let me talk a little bit about the positives. Will McIlvain continues to play at a high level. He's played 4 straight games where you can see him improving on who he is. He's almost to a 150 passer efficiency rating on the season. His touchdown to interception ratio is 12-4 now. He's thrown for almost 2,000 yards in 6 games. I mean, 6 games. I mean, he's playing at a high clip. The guy we knew we recruited. Kylan James and Darius Hale continue to be weapons. We have to continue to get the ball in their hands in as many ways as possible. And then we've got receivers continue to step up. I think Gerard Barnes probably had one of his biggest games to date at wide receiver, catching 2 touchdowns, went for over 100 yards on Saturday. So a lot of good things. And our offensive line, give them a ton of credit. I mean, those guys were opening holes. Those guys played hard. They kept us in the game. I think the hidden stat in the game, though, as well as our offense played, almost 600 yards of offense, as bad as our defense had played to this point, the last 17 minutes of the game, we lost 3-0. So all that scoring happened, in the first 3.5 quarters. The last 17 minutes of the game, we lost 3-0. We didn't handle it on offense. It came down to a last second or a 2-minute drive to try to score and win the game, and we didn't handle that. Our defense got it figured out. We started making stops, and we didn't capitalize on 3 straight possessions on offense when we needed to. And so there's give and take any time in a game like that, and something that you don't really look at. But it's something that sticks out to me as a head coach, right? All you have to do is handle your business on offense on one of those possessions, much less, maybe more, and we go win that game no matter how ugly it was to that point. But you got to turn the page. Like Steve said, whether you want to believe it or not, and I have a hard time believing it. We're number 1 in the A-Sun right now. We're on top of the A-Sun, and so there's advantages and disadvantages to not having a big schedule in a conference, right? I mean, you play basically 5 conference games is all you play. The rest of them you're putting together non-conference opponents. So what that has allowed us to only play in weeks. We're going into week 7 and only playing 1 conference game. I mean, right? That's crazy. Or this will be our 2nd conference game. But what it does is it gives you an opportunity on the back half of your season is when it matters, is when you go earn what your goals are and what your team is obviously working for. Going to be a great challenge this week. It's a long road trip, going basically to the greater, the Atlanta area to play Kennesaw State. It'll be our longest road trip on a bus on the year, so we'll have to be mentally prepared for that, and we will be. It'll be the earliest start we've had that I can remember since probably a playoff game years back when we were on the East Coast playing Presbyterian or Albany State, one of those teams. But a 12 o'clock Central Time will be early for us. We're not used to that in our conference play, so we'll have to get ourselves and our teams geared up for that. But look, we're growing. We're fixing it. We've got speed bumps. It's been an up and down first 6 weeks. Sometimes we look like $1 million. Sometimes we don't. And I think that's a product of getting your team to molding your team to exactly what you want to be. I was listening to Coach Bohannon, Kennesaw State's head coach. He's had a ton of success. He's won a lot of games in his tenure at Kennesaw State, and they're a 2-3 football team right now. Nobody's expecting them to be 2-3 right now. They were ranked 6th in the country, picked 1st in the A-Sun, but they've struggled. They've had a lot of close games. They've played in some big atmospheres. They went to Cincinnati and got beat, so that was kind of like our deal with Ole Miss. But he's been in some tight games, and he said it like this, and it's exactly kind of what we're going through right now. He said nothing is easy right now. It's work, and that's true. Sometimes it isn't easy, right? Sometimes your work is cut out for you, and that's just the way it is. And so we're playing a team in Kennesaw State who's coming off of overtime win. They won Saturday against North Alabama. They won in 2 overtimes. Took 2 overtimes to beat North Alabama. The week before, they got beaten overtime by Jacksonville State. So they're coming off of 2 straight overtime games. And then they've lost to Samford and Cincinnati. They beat Wofford 22-20. And then obviously beat North Alabama in double overtime last Saturday. So they've got a returning All-American quarterback. Now, when I say quarterback, it's not your typical quarterback. You people, you guys that have been here for a while, you remember how the teams we played in the past, like Nichols, the triple option, Georgia Southern, triple option, Navy, Army, those triple option attacks, Georgia Tech, the Paul Johnson. That's who Coach Bohannon is tutored under as Coach Johnson for years. He was the Coach Bohannon, before he got the Kennesaw State job, was the quarterback coach and B-back coach for Georgia Tech. So he is very, very in tune with that offense. That's what they run. The Shepherd kid, which is their quarterback, was preseason first team All-American quarterback And not just because he's a great runner, but they do enough in the pass game to where they've got good athletes out there where they do spread it out more than probably what you get used to seeing with Navy and Army and some of those guys. But it's about focusing on us. It's about focusing on what's in front of us. I talked to our guys on Sunday night. Man, I love that group. I love the group that's down in that locker room. I do. They're a good group of guys. And one thing they're going to do is they're going to fight, and they're going to scratch, and they're going to claw for this program, and they're going to do everything they can to their ability. Now, are they going to do it right all the time? No, and that's why you lose games, and that's our job as coaches to correct that. But man, I had a conversation with Coach Rebo. I really respect Coach Rebo down at Nichols, and they're struggling right now. They're 1-5 right now. He's been a playoff team for the last 4 or 5 years as well. And I just asked him, man, I'm just relaying things off of him, man. Like, what are you doing? What's helping you? I got to know him a lot when I was in the Southland. We were in the Southland, and respect the heck out of him. And he said, man, bottom line is, he said, are you guys, your program and UCA, and he goes, we've developed this at Nichols, aren't used to losing. That's a good thing. So consider that a good thing, right? When you're not used to losing, that's a good thing. He said, and ultimately just be consistent. Be consistent as a coach. Whether it's going good or whether it's going bad, whether you win or whether you lose, just be consistent. Be who you are. Stick to your message. And you'll dig out of it. And I don't have any doubt that that's going to happen. I've got a great coaching staff. I've got great players that truly want to do it. They're 18 to 22-year-olds, and like these coaches in here, y'all know they can be knuckleheads sometimes, but that's our knuckleheads, and we'll coach them up, we'll get them right, and we'll get some wins. So, look, all it's going to take is turning the page and getting a win this week and getting to 2-0 in the ASUN, and we'll be feeling pretty dang good about ourselves. We proved it 2 weeks ago, how good a team we can be. We laid an egg out here, which is unfortunate and really not something that we're about. But we'll adjust, and we'll adjust on the fly, and we'll be a better team for it. I truly believe that. Any questions? Mr. Jim?
I see a little football from time to time. I don't believe I've ever seen a game where it was 14-7 and y'all had to snap.
Yeah.
It just.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, and that's something you talk about on the sideline too. So, you get geared up on offense after the first possession or whatever it is. Well, they were sitting on the bench for probably real time, probably 20, 25 minutes into the game, like not necessarily quarter time, but so we had to gear ourselves up, and fortunately we were ready to go when we got out there. But yeah, I mean, great. I mean, you always want a kick return touchdown if you can get it, right? And that was big in that moment. But, yeah, it forced our offense to sit there and be cold for a minute. So, that was the deal. We went on the sideline. We told them get around, move around, had Will get some throws in because you don't anticipate sitting for that long from play one till whatever number play it was to get your first snaps on offense. Yeah, that's different. Yep.
I know you don't usually speak anything about the referees, but I felt like there were some real questionable calls made in the game.
Yeah.
And even looking at the replays and everything, even they showed them on the screen.
Yeah.
And you could see one way completely, and they called it the other, and I guess they really hurt us.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about this before. I think you get different types of crews, and some crews are a little bit more nitpicky than others, and some aren't. And flow of the game has a lot to do with that. I feel like referees' calls can be magnified when we don't handle our business, right? It's like if we're handling our business and the referees' calls aren't as big a deal, and so we've got to do a good job handling our business, not to be in that situation. I saw what was on the screen and on the overturned interception, which ended up not killing us. Well, it would have gave us better field position, but the next play, Cameron Godfrey picks it, and I've never seen a ball be spotted on the inch-yard line, but that ball was like that far off the goal line. Give him a dang touchback, right? Give us on the 20, but they put us on the inch-yard line. But the play before, the one where Casey Clark, tip ball, went up, I don't know. The call on the field was an interception. I don't know what the replay officials saw to change it, but they saw enough, I guess, enough movement to see enough that it was definitive evidence that it wasn't secure. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We got to be better. Doc.
Do you think that the NIL is having a lot of things to do with parity right now, that even on our level?
Yeah.
you don't have that continuity of your top players that you count on for next year, and they're gone. And I know it's bigger on the, Power 5
Yes, sir.
and things like that, but it seems like it's even happening on this level.
Yeah, I had that conversation with Coach Rebo as well. Yes, I do. To be totally frank with you, I do. I think it's hard to. I think it's hard to develop culture. With culture comes time. It's not like you can sit there and bring a freshman in, or even a transfer mid-year guy, junior college kid, and snap your fingers and your culture's set on a kid. So with that ability, with the NIL or even the transfer portal to just leave whenever you want, or in a lot of circumstances, it's good to have that and be available. But it does put a lot of stress on a coaching staff because of that. I mean, who you're going to have this team that we have right now will look totally different next year because of the world we're living in. It just will. I mean, that's facts, and especially at our level. The FCS level is in a position right now where I believe a lot of people are looking to poach, and that's just facts. That's truth. And so we've got to do a good job of loving on the kids we've got, right? The players that are making an impact, and even the players that you're developing that are young, to give them more than just football, so that they do want to stay when the season's over, or if the grass looks greener on the other side, hopefully they know that we're going to water this grass here too, right? And but I don't think there's any doubt that that's changed the landscape of college athletics, but football for sure, for years and years to come. And I don't know if there's any coming back from it. It is we've got to adjust on the fly and change our philosophies recruiting wise and do some things different. And that's just the world we're in. Dr. Bradley.
With the transfer portal being so important, what are we doing differently already get ready for next year? And then on the officiating side, I noticed the officials in this game didn't do the proper hand signals or didn't even use them. What conference were they from?
They were ASUN. I believe the ASUN is partnered with the OVC. So ASUN OVC officials, they were a part of our conference.
They need to have a lot better training on their officials, because generally, you have proper hand signs when you make a call, even if you can't hear what the guy says.
Yeah.
If you understand what the hand signs are, you understand what went on.
No question.
Even on touchdowns, they didn't even raise their hand. If that's going to be the ASUN.
They were probably getting tired. I mean, how many times they got to raise them? Well, you'd be getting tired too, Dr. Bradley, I mean, at that point, they were probably rolling their eyes, wondering what was going on, No doubt. They're running up and down. Those guys got their wind sprints in. No, but to answer your question on the transfer portal, we're in a unique spot here in Conway, Arkansas. So the state of Arkansas produces some great talent, football-wise, but it doesn't create the mass talent that goes out across the nation with 25, 30, 40, 50-plus kids going out as FBS players signing out of high school. You go to the state of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, I mean, there's going to be 60, 70 kids that'll go to USC, Syracuse, Rutgers, Georgia, Florida, wherever, Nebraska. And so when those kids get somewhat disgruntled or want to change the scenery, they usually want to do what? Come closer to home. Well, we don't have that luxury here. So we've got to be a little more creative in the transfer portal. Relationships, are huge. I know for us personally, this recruiting cycle, we have taken a coach, not off the road, but he doesn't have a recruiting region or city. He is solely recruiting the transfer portal. So his eyes are doing nothing but keeping an eye on the transfer portal. Instead of saying, well, I've got the DFW area, or I've got the, East Tennessee, Memphis, whatever, West Tennessee, Memphis, or whatever it is. His sole job is the transfer portal, and that's crazy. So you take basically you got 10 coaches other than myself that can get the road. Well, we can still send that 10th coach on the road, but majority of his time is going to be spent on the portal, and I think that's probably consistent with a lot of programs. I know bigger programs have recruiting staff that is on campus that do a lot of that. Well, at this level, you don't have that luxury, so a lot of multitasking being done on our end. But yeah, that's an area we've definitely emphasized.
Well, under NCAA rules, can you talk to another player before the season is over? Or, when you talk about coaching,
Yep.
communicate now? I don't know.
Well, let me. I don't want to get myself in trouble there, but when I say poaching, let's just say I've been a part of a few players that are here that have left here that have been poached, and that's just my opinion. Before they hit the portal, but as soon as you hit the transfer portal, communication can happen. So a kid, I don't know that getting in the transfer portal this time of year does a whole lot of benefit for a young man or female because they're in the middle of the season. What are they going to do? Go somewhere and, you're going to wait till the end of the semester. But a lot of kids think it gives them a jump start on getting to visit with coaches and, getting to know their situation. So, yeah, as soon as they hit the transfer portal, recruiting can happen with the young man or woman. You might need to have a conversation with Natalie after this.
I will say this, the transfer portal's gone to Windows, so nobody can even be in the portal right now. Because, except for spring sports that are looking to transfer at Christmas. So like football, they can't even go in the portal until after the selection show for the championship. Same with other sports. So there's nobody in there to look at it.
That was an adjusted rule that passed just recently. Whereas this time last year, that there wasn't windows to where that could happen. So, Gene?
Changing landscape of conferences, and I heard a rumor this weekend that Kennesaw's going to Conference USA, which puts us back into a smaller, at least right now.
I hope so. I mean, it's been interesting, at least the football side of it, because there's just the ASUN that it's historically doesn't have a football side as far as the sports goes, and so I think what we've had in the last 2 years in this ASUN movement is a lot of progressive and proactive athletic departments that are seeking, I would assume because it's happened, FBS opportunities, and Kennesaw is obviously one of those. I don't know any I saw the same rumor you saw. I would think location-wise and just what they've got, I think they would be very attractive to the Conference USA. But it's a little bit of an uneasy feeling because you just don't know, right? You lose two great if that is true, you lose, Jacksonville State after this year and then Kennesaw after next year. You hope you can find somebody to replace them or us to land somewhere. Right now, the last 2 years, we don't even have a real automatic bid to the conference, and that's tough, but it is what it is. We've got to adjust and play whoever we have to play. And so I think we've gotten a little bit of a comfort zone in the Southland Conference. And sometimes it's good to shake up that comfort zone, right? With growth comes shaking comfort out, right? Like you get comfortable somewhere, at least as a football program. So I love the move. I think the direction we went is a positive deal. I just hope, and I think, bottom line is I'm sure our presidents, athletic directors, and the ASUN have a plan. There's no doubt they're on top of it. So I look forward to the future and seeing what programs we can get in here because I think it's attractive. I do. As a football conference, I think it's very attractive because of the region we're in. It's just getting the right fits. But that's a great question. Awesome. Look forward to get back on the good side, guys, this week. See y'all.
I did mention you might want to pay attention this afternoon. We may have some more players of the week. We didn't tell John this week, so he wouldn't blurt.
Yeah.
So
I was waiting on at least one.
So John's unaware of what may happen this afternoon. So
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Football comes out at 1. Volleyball comes out at 2. So just pay attention. Dr. Teague's out today. He's actually with the golf team in West Lafayette, either helping coach or getting in the way, or I don't know what he's doing. But we can ask him next week. But anyone else have anything else? Thursday.
Thursday is, food drive Thursday at volleyball, and it's can openers. I'm assuming you can still find the manual ones.
The manual ones?
Friday, I'm thinking soccer. Friday. Or non-perishable food items at the volleyball game. And we did good. We got 167.5 pounds of meat last week. So that was good.
We've done really good on the 2 weeks we've done, so let's keep that going if we can. Anybody else? If not, come out and support everybody this week. We appreciate y'all. Go Bears, go Sugar Bears.